I will say that I was also confused. Like you mentioned your headache.
Yeah.
I do think that it is a little confusing at points. And I'm curious to see what does and doesn't work for Brian.
Okay.
Because I just went, I guess I just don't get that scene.
I know.
Right?
That's what I had to start doing. I was like, all right, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. I'm going to see if they get it. And something.
I, however, whereas you were like, that doesn't make sense. I went, I don't think I quite am grasping what exactly the mechanics of this are in this particular scene at the end of the film. But I had faith that Christopher Nolan and his gang knew what was happening. I assumed this was all planned out to a certain extent.
Brian,
and I just wasn't following it, right? YUNKJunk! What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into the Noelcast.
Oh.
I'm your host, Noel, and with me this week is Noel.
Noel?
And Noel.
Definitely Noel. I'm the actual Noel.
You're the most Noel of all of us.
I'm the most Noel here.
And we're here to talk about a Christopher Nolan film. So here's the thing. Our buddy Noel went home to visit his mumsy and papa. His folk. And so he's not with us. But we have an Alice.
Hi, I'm actually Alice. I know I tricked you very briefly.
Actually Alice.
Yeah.
And actually Brian.
Hi.
And actually JD. You're currently tuning into the CultPop We Live in a Twilight World podcast.
Twilight.
Episode 67, a show where we talk about movies and TV and temporal pincer moves and all the other things that scratch your nerdy little itches. We're coming to you live from the new and improved YUNKJunk Studios.
YUNKJunk, new and improved.
A bomb-ass podcast production space here in the heart of Manayunk, which is on the outskirts of Philadelphia, though technically it's Philadelphia.
It's in the skirts of Philadelphia.
We're in the skirts.
It's nestled.
We're up in it.
All up in the skirts of Philadelphia.
Right at the edge, but we're still in there.
I'm your protagonist, JD, of JD's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right in the skirts of Pennsylvania. It's a nerdy comic shop which caters to anybody. Just please give me your money. With me tonight to talk about Tenet, again, is Alice.
Hi.
Say hi again.
Hi.
And then say hi again, Brian.
Hi again.
Great. Also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan. Because we're in a new space, we can't see him. He's like all the way.
What's up?
Alice can see him, and she was talking about that earlier.
How's he look?
It was great.
He's looking good.
He's actually in a booth this week. Last time I was here, he wasn't.
Yeah, they don't know. And we talk about booths a lot recently. And finally, that might have been the impetus for the move.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm tired of this booth business.
Yeah.
Get in a booth.
Please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and get into the chat and do all that nasty fun stuff that we like when you do. And you can also email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com or gmail.com. That was the introduction to the show. I'm very pleased with how that went. Let's move on to our next segment I lovingly call What You Been Up To This Week. Hey, Alice.
Hey.
The segment is called What You Been Up To This Week, huh?
Okay, so what do I do?
I'm about to ask you what you've been up to this week. Are you ready?
Do not answer under any circumstance.
Yeah, I need a lawyer present.
What you been up to this week, huh?
I have been up to watching some trashy reality television. Love is Blind.
Oh, so like
on Netflix.
Oh, I see. Trashy reality television. I immediately went to porn.
Oh,
that's not real. I mean, I guess it can be reality.
Nobody ever calls that reality. I mean, it's actually not.
Some of it is.
I mean,
some of it is. That's a really good point, you guys.
I usually put into the chat, into the search, amateur.
Right?
Yeah.
That's very real.
Tell us more about.
That's what I did, and somehow I ended up watching Love is Blind.
Which is streaming on Netflix, but I know little to nothing to negative anything about Love is Blind.
It's absolutely insane. This is the 6th season that they've done this.
Oh.
The concept is that
Sorry. Coast is in the chat saying, hi, Noel. And also, corporate needs you to find the difference between these two pictures.
He was saying we're all Noel.
We're all Noel.
We're all Noel.
And how else can I afford a pizza?
Talking about the amateur
His OnlyFans?
Yes, exactly.
Right. Watching amateur porn.
Yes, that's how he makes money.
Right. Another $5.
Love is Blind. It is hosted by Nick Lachey.
I've heard that name. He was a singer? He was a singy boy.
Okay.
98 Degrees, I believe. Was that boy band?
I remember. Was there a band called 98 Degrees?
There was, and Nick Lachey was in it.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
That's of all the degrees.
His wife, and Vanessa Lachey. And they get, I think it's 12 men, 12 women, and they stay separate. And it's a very like heteronormative show. I will say that.
They stay separate along male and female lines.
Yeah. Okay. And they like, they have to meet in what they call the pods. So like they're conjoined pods, but you can't see through the wall, but you can hear through the wall. So like you go on dates with different people, but you can't see them. So you're talking to them, trying to get to know them. And the premise is, if at the end of 4 weeks, you're going to marry one of these people.
Fuck off.
Oh.
So you get engaged.
All of them will marry one of them, or just
not everybody gets married, but usually like 4 or 5 couples
will get married,
or will get engaged, and then like of that, like 2 or 3 will get married. There are still people from season 1 who are still married, and this season has been insane. And I know it's like, but there's been a lot of drama behind the scenes. Like apparently one of the guys that came in the show like had a fiance at home. And he just and he was just coming on the show to make money and become like a C-list celebrity.
I mean,
and like, so that's just recently come out, and it's.
I guess now he is more than he would have been.
Exactly. It worked.
Yeah.
Right.
It worked. But yeah, it's just absolutely insane to watch these.
I have very little experience when it comes to amateur. No,
That's not true.
It's not true. It's true. When it comes to reality television.
Oh, it's my guilty pleasure.
Mine was The Real World season 1.
I love
did
The
that
Real
back
World.
when it was like an original idea, and I was like, oh wow, there's just normal people living in New York.
Yeah.
And
Getting real.
There's like a
Getting real. Yeah.
true story. And they just kind of follow them around, and it wasn't crazy.
Did you ever? Okay, so you probably never watched the phase of MTV like when I was a teen that had all of the most absurd concepts for reality television.
Like what?
Did you hear Next?
No.
Oh my God. 3 people on a bus,
Yes.
1 guy off the bus. They have to go on an hour-long date with this person. So like one person comes off the bus, but at any point in the date, the guy can just say next. So if this person walks off the bus and he just thinks they're unattractive, he says next immediately. It was like Tinder, but like to your face.
Yeah.
But if
You
he
swiped
thinks,
right, but you pushed them off a bus.
Literally.
A moving
Literally.
vehicle.
It's like 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
so they get off the bus. If they get on their date, like at any point he can say next. It's like she says something he doesn't like. He says next. But the girl gets like the dollar amount for however long the date lasts. So she gets like $30 or something.
Oh wow.
And then I believe at the end of like the hour, the girl could either choose to go on a second date or take $60.
Wow.
Or like date my mom. Did you ever hear that show?
That sounds like I could piece that together. Go on.
Basically, instead of dating the women, you go on a date with their mothers, and from there you pick the girl you want to date.
Oh, right.
so
Oh,
it's
that's
not-
cute.
You're
Right.
not
You sort of
dating
learn
them.
about your person.
But it got
from-
very shallow very quickly.
I'm sure.
It was like, whoever has the hottest mom, I'm going to pick them.
I remember watching
That was
Temptation
what
Island.
happened every
too.
time.
Do you know about Temptation Island?
It sounds familiar.
That one I watched. The first season of that. Temptation Island, the idea was a bunch of folks went onto an island, presumably in the temptation area of the world. And they're already with a person. So they already have a boyfriend, girlfriend, a fiance.
Right.
And so the idea was go to this island and get tempted by all of these other people to give up on your relationship that you have at home.
Do those people like work for the show, or did they also in relationships?
No, they're all there. They're just
Everyone.
Temptation
They're all in
Island each other.
relationships. Oh my God.
Yeah, and they all have relationships.
Oh.
Yeah, I think.
That sounds familiar. I've definitely heard of a show like that. Did you ever watch Survivor? That was some
I've
good
never
reality.
survived. I've never
I
done
used
it.
to be into that.
I was watching a movie, and the person in the movie was watching something like Survivor, but they were all naked.
Naked and Afraid.
Naked and Afraid.
Of course.
Of course I know Naked and Afraid. I don't watch it as regularly as other people do, but I've seen a couple episodes here and there.
And you're just kind of watching them, but it's all like bleeped out, right?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
I want to see all the unbleeped stuff.
Yeah, where's
Well,
the
that's when
late
you
night
search
version?
the amateur porn stuff that you were talking about earlier.
Red tube.
Yes.
Got it.
That's not see,
There must
reality
be,
television
right?
is different. Yeah.
So Love is Blind, streaming now on Netflix.
Yeah, I think the last episode actually just came out today, so
Are you going to go home
I'm
immediately
gonna go and
after
watch it
this
and see who
watch
got
it?
married. Like
You
there's
don't
like
find out until the
the end. Like
Okay.
it's like they have their wedding. Like you watch their wedding.
How many people have gotten married on the show and are not married anymore? Like a lot.
Ooh, yeah, a fair
Okay.
handful have
Yeah,
gotten
yeah.
like divorced. I'm assuming. I haven't watched all the seasons. I think I actually missed season 5, but people were telling me season 6 was so crazy that I just jumped in and watched season 6.
Not a lot of continuity
Not-
between
yeah,
the
I
seasons.
was like, yeah, I know. I don't need to know what happened with everybody else last season.
If you could be on any reality television show, which one would you pick?
Fear Factor.
Oh,
Wait,
oh,
that's what
yeah.
you would
Is that
pick.
still on?
I think it is, and I think Ludacris hosts it now. Not
Jaleel White.
Joel Rogan.
Oh, right.
Right, he
That
was
It
in
was
the original.
when I used to
Yeah.
watch it. It was Joe Rogan.
Yeesh.
That was the
Why-
only thing I knew him from, and I missed that time in my
I
life.
knew him from a sitcom,
Well, News Radio.
News
Oh,
Radio.
he's so good. It's
He
one of
was-
my all-time favorite
Yeah.
sitcoms. Yeah.
Yeah, bummer. Would you even go on a?
Would I go on a reality show?
Yeah.
What's the one where I can win the most money?
Oh, that's a good question.
Why not do that one?
Alice?
Ooh, I don't know.
And where I would probably win the most money.
Right.
Like me personally.
You'd have to like know.
Well,
a
now
bunch
I'm
of
thinking
stuff.
like game
Yeah.
shows. I guess Deal or No Deal doesn't count as a reality TV. It's a game show.
Well,
Yeah.
there was Joe Schmo. Do you remember that?
Yes,
That was a
Joe
fun
Schmo.
show.
Oh, you know what? Who wants? Oh, I guess that's a game show.
You can
I was
go
gonna say
on
Who Wants to
next.
Be a Millionaire?
No, yeah, who was?
I would be on
That's
that
not
show,
a
though. If
reality
somebody
show. Yeah.
asked me to be on it, I would do that.
You should go be on it. Will you be on it?
I guess I would,
Okay, great.
which is what I said.
so-
What about
Brian.
you, JD?
Hey, what's up?
Wait, I want to know
oh.
what reality show you'd be on.
Oh shit. Probably.
Well, you don't watch
Like, what's the
reality
one
TV.
where you have to undergo the least turmoil and stress?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Is there
I
one-
picked the most.
You did, which I found very interesting because do you just want to be exposed to these scary things?
I want bragging rights.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There's
I
scary
wouldn't want
stuff.
to eat the gross stuff though. So if they still do
I
that,
would be out.
they got
Yeah.
they got rid of that for a while. The show got canceled for a little bit because they did something really gross.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah,
I don't have a
Yeah.
good stomach for like eating cockroaches or whatever.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
thank
Have you
you.
It would probably be. I guess
Just didn't agree
is
with
the
him.
real world is still a thing? Probably not.
I don't know.
think
Judd
it
Winnick
might-
was on it. That's not
I
related
know,
to whether
that's
it's
how
still a
I
thing,
knew
but-
about Judd Winnick. I
Yeah,
knew
yeah.
him from the real world.
Yeah.
He became a comic book writer,
Yeah,
by the way.
Green Lantern, very
Yeah.
good run.
Very
on
good
Green
run
Lantern.
on GL.
Yeah.
Brian,
Hey,
what have you been up to this week? Huh?
glad you asked, JD. I was want to talk about a show called Has Been Hotel.
Heard of it?
Heard of
I
it too.
talked about it to you
Oh,
earlier.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Probably
like
how I heard
a little
about
while
it.
ago.
And
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, hey, what are you going
it's
to
all
talk about
sounding
today on the
familiar
show?
now. Hey, I know you.
yeah, exactly.
You seem very familiar to me.
Exactly.
On Amazon Prime, tell us about it.
I will tell you about it. It's about it takes place in hell primarily,
Uh-huh.
and it is about the son. It's not the son; it's the daughter of the Lucifer.
Oh, yeah.
And what's her name? The one who got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, Adam's
No.
first wife.
No, not Eve.
Lilith.
Lilith.
Of course.
Duh.
So anyway, it's her, and Lucifer had this daughter a long time ago, and now she wants to run, and is running, a hotel to rehabilitate souls
Mhm.
in hell to get them out of hell, right?
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
it's cool. And it opens with this like very cool kind of like shadow puppet animation of the story thus far. Like there were Adam and Lilith, and then
Yeah.
this happened, and now here we are, right? And it's very cool. It is a pretty fresh take on Lucifer and the idea. There is eventually a bit of like, well, maybe heaven's not so great because
Right,
they do this
yeah.
kind of thing,
Yeah,
right? This other
maybe.
deal, right?
Maybe the
Very
good guys aren't
judgmental
so
up there.
good.
They
Yeah.
are. Well,
Very
and also they
judgmental.
come down and slaughter all the souls in hell every so often.
Oh, that, yeah,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm not sure, I forget if they just like doing that
If there's
or
a
if
reason.
there's some
yeah.
reason, right?
They're just
I
bored.
mean, it's got to get full at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would guess. They don't really go into that part.
Hmm.
But there is, so there's some demons that help out in the Has-Been Hotel for some of them for their own purposes.
What?
Right?
Yeah.
They have their own purposes. And
Classic demons.
I know, right? And some of them, I forget why, but they're like more bound to be there or whatever. And one of them is this radio demon who is very cool. He's this extraordinarily powerful demon who was gone for a little while, and now he's for his own purposes. He's helping out in the hotel. And whenever he talks, it sounds like an old time kind of radio static
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's
It's
fun.
cool. It's fun.
That's cool.
Stephanie Beatrice is Lucifer's daughter's, I don't know if wife. I'm not sure if they're married, but they're together.
Yeah.
And they love each other.
Who's Stephanie
And-
Beatrice?
Oh, she was Rosa in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
She's also does a voice in Encanto.
Right.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And she does.
She's Mirabelle, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's the main character.
She's the
Yeah.
the main character. I forgot the name for a minute. That's why I did.
Sorry, good.
Is that a big part of the movie?
Yes.
Okay. So the animation is great. Oh, it's a musical also.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes,
awesome.
I forgot that part. It's and a good musical. Like the songs are good. They feel like real songs rather than just like
It's a musical.
or like a TV musical where you're like, oh yeah, we had to turn out a lot of these in short order. Yeah.
Sorry, Noel's in the chat saying, just tuning in, but Noel looks way better this week. I can't put my finger on why, but I'm a fan.
Which Noel? We're all Noel.
Yeah.
I think he just likes that there's 3.
Yeah. Haircut perhaps says Konstantinos Plakas. Sorry, it's so weird. I go to say Costa, but then reading his name messes me up.
Yeah.
Go on.
The nickname skips one of the letters, which is unusual for a nickname, but it
does.
Do you recommend it?
Highly. Yeah, I really like it. I love this type of mythology stuff, and the characters are all very engaging. And like, this one guy comes to destroy the radio demon, his nemesis, and the radio demon's like, I don't remember who you are. And he's like, fares very poorly, but then ends up joining the hotel and, to get redeemed. And so, yeah, it's about the striving for redemption in a musical format with cool animation in hell. I'm into it.
So I had heard good things about this, and I turned it on. My wife and I turned it on, and we watched about 7 minutes. And I just kind of got annoyed and turned it off. Something about maybe some of the voice acting was just so, it was at 11. I feel like
yes, it's very broad. It's very big.
Yeah.
Well, it's a musical.
I didn't even get to a musical number.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'll probably go back at some point. It was one of those things. There's so many times that I'll turn on something for the first time and I am not in the mood for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I just turn it on and I go, no. And I turn it off. And then I'll go back to it much later and I'll be like, oh, I wish I stick with this years ago.
You weren't in the mood. It's years.
I wasn't in the mood. Yeah.
Sure. Like
I'm the same way with bands.
With bands?
Like I'll hear a band and I'll just ignore them for the longest time. And then like a decade later, I'll be like, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
This is my new favorite band.
Are you the kind of person when someone tells you like, oh my God, you have to watch this thing, you don't want to anymore? Okay. I know some people like that. So like I don't recommend them stuff because I'm like, I know if I tell you, you're not going to watch it.
Like, I just think you might like this.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be controlled by these other people. Just if you want to watch it.
No, I love to hear that people are enjoying something, and I'm always looking for something that I can enjoy or participate in, be part of the conversation if it's something that I'm interested in conversing about. But yeah, people being excited about a thing does not make me hate a thing.
Cool.
That is such a
I didn't mean it like that. I just know some people who are like,
people who are like that. Who are
like, if it's popular, it's just like they just can't get into it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And especially if somebody if somebody's like, oh, you should check this out, it like for whatever reason sets up a negative reaction in them.
Yeah. That happened with Game of Thrones a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Whenever I was like, oh my God, Game of Thrones is so good. People are like, oh, everybody's talking about Game of Thrones. I don't want to watch it. I was like, okay. Don't watch it then. Like, don't watch it.
Man, everyone seems to be genuinely enjoying this thing. You know what I hate? Genuinely enjoying the thing. So I'm just not going to bother. The real Noel is the friends we made along the way. Hair, smile, complexion. Just the whole vibe is better than it's been in months, says Noel. What is a Noel if not not the Noels we made along the way? I hate other people's opinions. That's why I like sharing mine. Duh.
Love it.
Did we do all of the things? No, we did. I didn't do my thing.
Yeah,
JD, what have you been up to this week?
Tell you. Listen to me as I tell you now. So Avatar: The Last Airbender is a thing that we did last week, you and I
remember doing it.
by our onesies. I guess it's twosies. You and I got together on a set much like this set, but different. And we talked about Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is streaming now on Netflix, which is a live action version of an animated series from Nickelodeon about 15 years ago. I just made up that number. I mean, it's a number that exists. I didn't make it up. But it did take place in the before times. So we talked about, I had watched 4 episodes. You had watched 2.
Yes.
Since then, you had given up.
I had given up before that.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was not.
Really did not like
into it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to have known what happens in the story, and it's visually very cool, but I'm not going to watch
What had happened was I had said how much I liked it, and I was like, you should really watch this. And he was like,
And I was like, JD, I've already formed an opinion on it. We're here to discuss it tonight on the show.
But I went back and finished it, and boy, does it get fun. Have you watched any of this?
I haven't yet.
Have you watched the cartoon?
Yes, I love the cartoon.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so good. I have trouble recommending the live action to people.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's for everybody. But I think I won't even say if you're a super fan of the cartoon, because if you're a super fan, then you'll be offended by some of the changes. I don't know. All I can say is it was iffy when it started.
Mm-hmm.
And then throughout the 8 episodes, I genuinely was looking forward to it and enjoying it and really just excited to be in that little world. I think they've done a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm.
It's not perfect.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
And so I'll reiterate what I said last time, which is any of the broader cartoonier elements from the actual cartoon, when that gets translated, it is a little silly. It doesn't quite hit the mark.
Yeah.
Like I remember a wrap-up joke at the end of one of their adventures when they're flying away on the Sky Bison, and it's like, what?
That's
Appa,
Appa.
Sky Bison.
Yeah.
Sky Bison, yeah.
He is a Sky Bison.
He is a Sky Bison. I love him.
A wrap-up joke?
Yeah, like not about wrapping up. Like a joke that...
A joke at the end of the episode.
Yes.
Oh, I thought they
Yeah.
were like, and now a joke about this adventure we just went on.
Yeah.
End of the episode.
No, they're flying around on Appa.
Appa.
And
Yep.
with a P. Yeah, okay. So they're flying away and having concluded, and there's like, well, this thing about that thing that, I'm going to eat all the food. And he's like, not if I get to it first or something.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then the thing comes out of the sky and eats some...
Momo.
Yeah.
And he eats the thing. Yeah.
Something like that. I don't remember if the joke was about food, but it was like the conclusion of an animated show joke.
Sure. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it was very cartoony.
Yes.
And I love cartoons, but
not when they're
But
live
not
action.
live action. Yeah.
So, and all of this is to say that my wife and I really wound up enjoying it.
Mhm.
And we were like, I kind of compared it to Harry Potter because the acting is not great because it's a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And, but the same with Harry Potter. You go to see the first Harry Potter and you're like, Daniel Radcliffe, not so great. But you watch as they grow and the episodes get, or I guess the themes get a little bit more adult. I think the acting gets better in those movies. And I think it's going to happen here with seasons 2 and 3, which were just approved today.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah. My lovely friend and co-host of my podcast Inside the Morgue, Jess, loves the cartoon, and she watched all of the live action. She had a lot of the same thoughts, and she wants me to watch live action. She overall very much enjoyed it. She's like, I need you to watch so I can talk to you about it.
me and Ray, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
We're like excited about it. So yeah. Let's see. Noel says, all jokes aside, there is a level of broad popularity that does start to feel like a bombardment. Sometimes it makes me wait until the fervor is over before I watch or read something.
See, that's what I think I was trying to get at. I wasn't saying like people are like, oh, just because you like it, I'm not going to like it. It's because like it's so in everybody's face.
People
Some
do that, though.
Yeah, no, they definitely
They'll
do.
be contrarians
I'm
and just
wearing
like
a Twilight shirt. I'm very familiar with that kind of person.
Nice.
Yeah, some people it's just like it's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
They just like, oh, I don't think I want to.
Yeah, I think my only
Thanks,
problem.
Noel. You got me, Noel.
I think the only thing I got you, Noel. I think, if it raises my expectations too high,
Yes, that's what it's overhyped.
then I get disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I think of the word overhyped? That's what I was
just did
trying.
it.
I know, but
Good
it took
job.
me so long to get there. Thank you.
Get your damn live action out of my cartoons, said Brian Naruto Lieb.
That is such an interesting name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew his
Wonder
middle
who
name was
he's talking about.
Naruto. Yeah.
Is that Italian?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So
Lost in the
yeah,
midst of time.
try it out. Try
I'm gonna watch
Try
it. I'm gonna
Netflix.
watch it.
Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch it 3 years from now when it's not popular anymore.
That's probably a good
Perfect.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess season 3 will probably be wrapping up by
so
then.
maybe it'll be even more
Yeah, just
popular.
binge it.
It'll get better as it goes. Hi.
Hi.
You sound like you're about to say something.
I was about to say something.
Continue
So
on your path.
Are we gonna, because I feel like what have we been up to this week is wrapping up.
Mhm.
And another thing that I saw this week that is just an exciting
Did you want to break
tease.
the format and tell us about another thing you saw this week, huh?
I think you probably saw it too. In fact, we talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
The new Superman symbol was partially revealed.
What? I didn't know
Yes.
about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here, you keep talking.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll see.
So it's cool. Now I was hoping for
Oops, that's red
the
too.
classic symbol because
Mhm.
I really think that what's his name?
We just got a new subscriber. Thank you, Matthew Wong.
Oh,
Subscribe to our
thank you.
channel. I got an immediate alert, and
Nice.
it made my day. Thank you.
nice.
My fiance is running away with Noel in the
The
chat.
channel.
I mean, I get it.
That's
I
fair.
kind of get it too.
They're both very handsome.
Is he in Florida also?
I
But
mean,
no.
maybe now. Maybe
It's just so
he's leaving
convenient
now.
geographically.
You know what's fun? I was going to bring it up, but because we're in a new space tonight, I don't have access to the Wi-Fi yet.
That's
so
fun.
yeah. So anyway, there was a new S
I'll look it up
Shield
later.
emblem
Mhm.
for the Superman no longer called Legacy movie.
Yes.
It was Superman
it's
Legacy.
called.
Now it's just called Superman
Is
Yes.
Dylan bringing it up for us?
by James
Cool.
Gunn, and it is the S Shield sort of from Kingdom Come,
Yes.
which is my all-time favorite S Shield.
It is.
If I ever, when I was growing up, I was like, man, I want to get a little S Shield right here. And if I ever get a little
Really?
S Shield right here, it's going to be the Kingdom Come one.
That's cool.
Really cool. But instead of the, what is it, red and black
Mm-hmm.
in the Kingdom Come, yes?
Yellow. Red
In
and yellow.
this, yellow and red
Yes,
and blue.
yes.
Yeah.
Which I am quite pleased about. So, like, I was hoping for
Looking at
a
it.
classic costume, you know, and
Mhm.
I'm hoping for a classic take on Superman. And what he said so far really sounds like it's headed in that direction. I'm very excited about it. That being said, this symbol is very cool, right? It's a very
Ooh.
cool looking.
Creative block. Go down the creative block.
It's
like that.
yes, very much. It's not exactly, but it's very much like the
Ooh.
Kingdom Come,
Like
except with
that.
yellow instead of black, and
Yeah.
it's got a yellow border around the outside, which
Mhm.
I think might take me a little getting used to.
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
That's it. That's the whole thing. You got it. Stop
Zoom
moving.
in,
God
enhance it.
damn it. Ad
Zoom in
blocker.
more.
Ad blocker. Thank you. Go ahead.
I like that a
Ooh, the
lot.
texture. We just saw the texture, ladies and gentlemen, and
And then, of course, all the
gentlethorpes.
people who can't get over the fact that Zack Snyder's universe no longer exists
Right.
are
It's the case.
shitting on it. And they're like,
Oh.
oh, it's got, it looks like a basketball. I'm like, have you guys seen a
Looks like
his
basketball?
was-
Basketball?
Doesn't look like a basketball.
Some basketballs maybe have a Superman symbol on them.
That's true.
Because people like
Oh my
Superman.
God, that's true.
People do
right?
enjoy
I had one when I was a kid.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's
Oh my
cool.
God,
Yeah, no
that's
joke.
so
Yeah.
cool.
But
Anyway.
yeah, it's a really cool symbol. If it's not
Yeah.
going to be the classic one, this is a really good one.
Mhm.
Yeah, very, very dynamic, very cool.
I actually quite like most of the design elements of the Zack Snyder suit. Like it was fine. I wasn't bothered by
Yeah.
it. But my favorite one, have you got? Yeah, I know you have seen it.
Of course.
I don't know. Have you seen Crisis on Infinite Earths,
No.
On
I
the
heard you talk
CW,
about it. Yeah.
where Brendan Routh winds up getting back
Oh,
into
yes.
a Superman suit, which is very much like the Kingdom Come suit,
Very much.
and that is I think my all-time favorite Superman suit.
Oh wow.
It's so
Nice.
good. I love
Cool.
that.
That particular one on Brandon Routh in Crisis or
Yeah.
the Kingdom Come design. Okay, cool.
No, the way that they
It's
created that.
So good.
It's like a
so
perfect Superman
well
suit.
made.
Yeah.
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 And he at the very end of it has the red and yellow in that same suit.
Did he?
A very one shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited about I hope that the James Gunn movie is good.
I really think so.
Mm.
He has a very specific vibe,
Yes.
and I'm curious to see how that's going to translate to a earnest Superman movie. Everyone thinks it's going to be like very jokey and sort of like dick and fart jokes.
Mm.
The one thing he said about it so far is very earnest.
Yeah.
You know, the stands for hope and goodness in a world where that seems out of fashion or something
yeah.
along those lines. You know, it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
And the cast has they've announced like 90 different actors
yeah.
in the cast. It's huge.
and I like the idea that, well, see, here's the thing. I don't know if it's that much bigger of a cast than any other movie. It's just that several of them are also superpowered characters.
Yeah.
Right. Which is unusual for a solo superhero movie and certainly a first one.
Right.
But it could be done really in a really cool way where it's just like they live in this world. He's been Superman for a while at this point.
Yeah.
At least a little while, like long enough for other heroes to appear
Mhm.
and him to have probably his sort of a custom place.
Buds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
He's super buds.
His super buds.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Continue.
I also heard that they were filming some Fortress of Solitude scenes
Yes.
today.
Well, that's one of the nice
Ooh.
little elements of this image that they released on Instagram is the little bit of snowflakes
I was gonna say that.
on
Yeah.
on this S shield.
Yeah.
It was kind of cute. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say.
What is it?
The casting for Lois Lane
Oh.
is my favorite part of this
Wait,
movie.
who's Lois
Awesome.
Lane?
Rachel Brosnahan. Yes.
The marvelous Miss Maisel.
Yes.
Yes.
She's
A big part of the show.
Mrs. Maisel. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. But she just, I was like, that's the most perfect. That's like Robert
Right?
Downey Jr.
That's
Iron Man
awesome.
casting.
Like when
That's
I
gonna be good.
saw that, yeah, like she's like Maisel is already a lot like Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I saw that just as a rumor, the people were like, "Oh, they're talking about Rachel Weisz," and I'm like, "That would be awesome."
I could totally picture her
Really
just
good.
running around trying to get a scoop. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, that's
just
awesome.
haranguing people.
That's gonna be cool.
For a
Yeah,
scoop.
yeah.
As much as I love Amy Adams, and I do love Amy Adams, I just I wish they had a little bit more chemistry, and I wish she had a little bit more to do in the movies.
That makes
yeah.
sense. She did figure out he was Superman, which I thought was really
which
cool.
I like that too. Yeah.
Nicholas Hoult is also in the movie
As
and-
Lex.
Yes,
I like him.
And the man-
He's Lex?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Ooh.
He's
Yeah, I
great.
know almost
Everything
nothing
I've
about this.
seen him in recently has been awesome. And whoever plays Metamorpho, I forget his name, but he was in Barry, and he was great in Barry. He was NoHo Hank.
Oh, NoHo Hank.
Yes.
Oh, I love
He's
NoHo
so
Hank.
good.
Oh,
Yeah.
Makes me sad just thinking about it.
Just a TV show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're all fine.
oh,
They've
what?
done other
Do you know
things.
that wasn't a documentary?
Yeah.
It was amateur
Wait, did you
documentary.
think Tenet was a documentary too?
Speaking of Tenet,
Yeah. What about it?
that's the main review. That's the main crux of our show tonight. We're going to talk about Tenet by
crux.
Christopher Nolan. So there's a whole rigmarole. We were thinking about doing Tenet, and then we were going to do Dune, but then
Part 2.
we're going to do Dune Part 2 next week. So you still have time to go see the movie and digest it before we talk about it next week. But it's definitely on the docket, and definitely see it.
Yeah. I
Spoiler
really liked it.
alert for our review next week.
Yeah.
Go see the movie. It's awesome.
I thought you were about
love
to
it.
spoil Dune right now.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't
Here's-
seen it yet.
This is what happens in the book after this one. Really gives a lot away about this story, but also spoilers for maybe a later movie.
Maybe later.
So anywho, we're going to talk about Tenet. Oh, by the way, hi, Robert Monroe Jr.
Hey, what's up, Cult Poppers? He asks. And we're going to talk about Tenet.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's
That's
up.
what's up.
Exactly. You will
so,
soon
all
find
right.
out.
Here we go.
Oh, getting warm up.
Main topic. So we're going to talk about our basic overall feelings of the film. And then we will let you know when it's time to smack dab into spoilers, so that we won't, because I think there is some spoiler type stuff
Like what
to
happens at the end.
discuss about this movie. The font of the credits,
The
very important.
closing credits.
The closing credits,
Yeah.
of course.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're gonna start off. Tenet, written and directed by Christopher Nolan, starring John David Washington as the protagonist, whose name is Protagonist.
The eye roll.
I'm not sure that's his name.
That's our name. That's the
what
name
we know him
that's
as.
what we know him as.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson plays Neil. Elizabeth Debicki plays Kat, and Kenneth Branagh plays Andre. Armed with only the word Tenet, and fighting for the survival of the entire world, CIA operative, the protagonist, journeys through a twilight world. Close up.
I lied.
You're wearing my
Of
leggings.
international espionage on a global mission that unfolds beyond real time. All right. So, shut up. So, don't start.
In real time.
Is that a spoiler?
And, okay. So, Alice,
Yes.
since you are our wonderful guest this week, why don't you start us off with A, your Christopher Nolan thoughts, if you have any,
Mm-hmm.
and B, what you were thinking going into this movie, which released, I want to say in 2020,
Yep.
during the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and still went to theaters.
I think it was right at, it was like one of the first movies to be back in theaters, right?
I think it was.
I feel like, from my understanding, a little too soon
Yeah.
for people to actually go see
Right.
it comfortably. You know what? Real aside,
Hmm.
I borrowed it from Noel,
Yes.
real Noel.
And this Noel borrowed it from
me.
you.
By the way, Noel, I lent her your Blu-ray.
Yeah. And we still have it because Costa didn't get to watch it with me. So
Did you see
I
it?
promise we'll
'Cause
get it back to you.
Yeah, Noel's not here.
Yeah. I am Noel.
They just, I think it just was back in theaters. Noel went and saw it in IMAX, even though he bought the Blu-ray 2 years ago, and he
Oh,
never
what?
watched it.
Wait,
he
had
wa-
he seen it
No,
in the theaters the first time? No,
No.
he never saw it.
he never saw it.
Oh,
bought the
okay.
Blu-ray, and then I believe went to go see it
Interesting.
last week in IMAX.
What?
Interesting. You watched a fresh Blu-ray when you watched it
How did you watch it?
on my television that we have in the house, and I whatever streaming service it was on.
Did you rent it or was it free?
I think I had to rent it.
I would, because I was
Yeah.
gonna rent it, and then you're like, "Hey, borrow Noel's DVD." I'm like, great.
Yeah, I'm not crazy. The 7mm IMAX says Noel. Which in retrospect, I really wish that I was able to go see.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, I would love to see this in IMAX. I'm sorry. Back to you.
Okay.
Alice.
So just like my thoughts on Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. Do you care about him as a director? Do you have favorite movies from him? Do you recognize the name?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of him.
Have you ever met a Christopher in your life?
No, but I know a Noel.
And Christopher.
So I didn't realize this until I was talking to you yesterday or Monday, whenever I was talking to you. I actually haven't seen a ton of Christopher Nolan stuff. I've seen Dark Knight trilogy, of course. I enjoyed that overall, especially Dark Knight. Most of my favorite, as is most people's.
Same.
Didn't really love Dark Knight Rises, as a lot of people didn't.
I'm actively angry at that movie. Go ahead.
I've seen Inception, and then I think that was like the only other Christopher Nolan movie. Like, yeah, I know his other movies.
Prestige?
We talked about this. I haven't seen it. No,
I haven't seen The Prestige.
I know, or Memento.
Memento.
And I told you, I was jokingly said, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch those two, but I'm not going to watch Tenet.
Right. It's like, oh shit.
I'm just going to watch the wrong movies. And now I've watched Tenet.
Nice.
And
Okay.
it definitely felt like a Christopher Nolan movie, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could if I went into that blind, I would have been like, "This is Christopher Nolan." This is even though I've seen 4 of his movies.
I had the exact same response.
Yeah.
So for me, Christopher Nolan started off very, very strong with, or at least I think The Following was his first movie. But the first thing I ever watched of him was Memento, which blew my face off.
I've heard.
I had to have reconstructive surgery on my face.
Almost unnoticeable.
And then the Prestige and the Batman movies, which kind of did this for me. Like,
yeah.
Boop, bop, blam.
The old boop bop blam.
Classic bloop bop blam.
Classic.
And then I didn't even bother with Dunkirk.
Oh, that was good. I forgot he did that, and then that I saw it.
So I think there was a couple. Oh, Interstellar lost me. I wasn't super into Interstellar. And so it was sort of diminishing returns in the past, I don't know, 8 years.
I feel like that was his very Christopher Nolan-ish movie.
Yeah, I love Inception.
Yeah, Inception.
But after that, I
you
just
saw Inception.
stopped.
I saw Inception.
Oh,
I've seen Dark Knight trilogy and Inception, and now Tenet. So I've seen 5 Christopher Nolan movies, to my knowledge. But I feel like I'd recognize it because I feel like you can just tell.
Well, as soon as this movie starts, I went, oh, right, Christopher Nolan. Here we go.
It reminded me of the beginning of Dark Knight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. The kineticism of everything that's like happening.
Yes.
It's at 11 immediately.
Yes.
They just throw you right into it.
Yeah.
You don't know what's really going on, but then as things get revealed, I had the same exact experience where I was like, oh, right, Christopher Nolan, that guy. I like this guy, I think. Oh, I'm excited for this.
And I went into this, I thought I was going to hate this movie, which I didn't hate it. So I was surprised, but like that was the point when I was like, oh yeah, I've liked the movies of his that I've seen.
Was it because so many people liked it that you were just like, I'm going to hate this?
Yeah, I'm a contrarian. No.
What was it? Just any reason?
It's not the kind of movie that I usually gravitate towards. It just, I knew there was some timey-wimey stuff, which usually isn't for me.
Okay.
In this capacity.
Oh, we love
we like us some timey-wimey stuff.
Well, it depends.
Times I whime.
Yeah,
sometimes I whime, he times.
I will do it.
It depends on how it's done.
Okay.
But yeah.
Fair enough.
You sometimes like it.
I sometimes like it.
She's
like a classic like Back to the Future, that timey-wimey stuff. Love that.
Yeah.
Doctor Who? Have you ever watched Doctor Who?
I've watched some of Doctor Who.
Okay.
I like Doctor Who. Costa
Cool.
is a huge Doctor Who fan. So that's how I've watched it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Costa, who's in the chat just screaming, Oppenheimer! With exclamation
Okay, so
point.
cool. Yeah. The other, the original, I said the other Noel. As in, like, he's not the
Other
original.
Noel.
Yeah, there's really only one Noel
Listen,
I am the new Noel.
in this
No.
family.
Yeah. See? I liked
He says
I liked
Prestige is the GOAT. Tenet came out to theaters in September 21 before a vaccine. I never went. Had the Blu-ray to eventually watch, but never got to. So I jumped at the chance to see in theaters instead of at home first. Alice Knoll is based. Tenet rocks. We call ourselves Whovians, says Costa.
I like
so
Yes. I am Noel based.
now,
It's true.
so I wouldn't say minimal. I would say medium Christopher Nolan experience. Not excited to walk into this movie. Brian.
yes.
Yeah.
Same question.
That question. So I think Christopher Nolan is good. He's made some movies that I liked.
Yes.
I do not
Noel
think
core,
of him
yes.
as the auteur that many people find him to be. And yeah, a lot of times I'm like, you know, all right, man. You know, tell me the end of your story instead of do it. Specifically Inception, that one, where I was like,
I love Inception.
I think that I might have been a victim of it being really hyped up.
Too much for
right?
you.
Sure.
That I can see happening with Inception.
Yeah, everyone was like saying how cool it was, and I finally saw it, and I thought it was going to be this really surreal thing because the trailers had some of the only stuff like that in the movie, and then I was like, the hell was that? And also at that time, I was just kind of upset with the idea of an ambiguous ending. I'm like, that was interesting when I first saw it, and now just I would like to see your story finish and tell me your whole story. And I just saw an article.
I don't find it to be
I know some people don't
at all,
and it's fine. You know, some people, but the fact that some people are like, he's in a dream still. No, he's not. You know that. You know, but that was not what the make or break for the movie for me.
Sure.
And there was just stuff in it that I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. What's happening here? Why can't they wake up just because they didn't get to that place? And the only reason I go so into that is that I think Christopher Nolan does that. You know, I did not notice this myself, but I heard it pointed out on a different podcast that in Dark Knight Rises, they leave the stock market and it's daytime and they go into an underpass, right? And it's
nighttime.
And
it's immediately
like,
night.
Right. And it's like, you knew what you were doing.
That's the night that rises. It rises very quickly.
God damn it, Alice.
Why did they do the rest of the movie?
God damn it. You know
After
what?
that, why didn't they just stop it?
Now I love the movie.
Yeah.
Just because of that.
Dark Knight Rises.
I'm in. You got me. Man. Oh, we're going to send the whole police department into the sewers at once.
And also, how would that strip Bruce Wayne's wealth, right? He's one of the wealthiest people in the world. People break into a stock exchange and all the banks are like, all right.
Seems legit.
Right?
Guy in the mask.
Guy had a bunch of guns. I guess we're not near there, but we got to do the thing that he wanted.
Jesus.
Right? And then couldn't they just undo it like the next day? And doesn't he have a lot of physical holdings as well?
Nope,
not just liquid stocks.
And then
he
goes to that other place where Bane is from and then climbs out of the hole, even though he has no money, winds up back in Gotham. He climbs out of the hole
even though he has no money.
And then winds up in Gotham like the next day.
Yes.
There's no way home.
Right.
He's stranded in another country.
Right.
Without anything.
Right.
And he's like, by the way, Gotham, hey, what's up?
Yeah. Like, I got on a plane.
I'm going to climb up to this bridge and spend God knows how many hours painting a goddamn bat symbol with.
It's going to be great.
So I can set it on fire.
You're going to love it.
I hate this movie so much. Anyway, so Christopher Nolan.
So I went into this like, we're watching this Christopher Nolan movie.
Great.
You know, like, how's this going to be, right?
Yeah.
And that being said, like, I get enjoyment from his movies, right?
Yeah.
I'm just not super into them.
Sure.
And Interstellar had pluses and minuses. I like Dunkirk, even though I forgot it was by him.
I still want to watch that. I'm interested.
You hate it now that you know it's him.
Yeah. Oh, he gets me.
Oh,
that guy. Nolan. So yeah, I was like, ugh, all right, here we go. I got to watch this. And I still don't know how long it was, but one thing said 2 hours and 50 minutes. And I was like, ugh. And we got to watch Avatar because we were going to do them both last week. I'm like, all right, I got so much.
Homework.
Right. And I really liked it.
Hey,
I enjoyed it. Right.
We're jumping right into it.
Definitely parts that didn't make sense. But I was like, all right, I guess
I
that's
try
his
not
deal.
to think
That's
about it
fine.
too hard.
Yeah.
I kept giving myself a headache.
There's a quote about that in the movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't think about it. Just feel it.
I thought it was weird that Christopher Nolan delivered that himself. Like he came on the set.
And he pointed at you.
Hey, Christopher Nolan, tell you this.
Yeah.
Enjoy my movie.
Noel,
Stop.
Stop thinking about it so much.
Watch the Knowles, Noel. We're going to Noel it up.
So, okay, great. Did I say mine? I guess I did say mine, right?
Oh, you kind of got into it.
Yeah.
Well, what I got from our conversation is that you love Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like so many of his movies, but not most of his recent movies. So I went into this because Noel came into the shop telling me how great it was, and I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Maybe
You do that little thing when you,
So yeah, I wound up watching it on Blu-ray with Sushan, and I was in immediately.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like we were talking about
the opening
that.
sucked me in.
Yeah, the opening really grabs you, I think. And yeah, I really quite enjoyed it. Alice, give us your overall thoughts on Tenet, and then before we get into spoilers.
I think my overall thoughts are best summed up by a text I sent to Costa as I was watching it. I was like, I'm watching Tenet right now, and it's giving me a headache, but I think I like it.
Nice.
And I have to decide what Robert Pattinson shirt I'm going to wear for the podcast.
Sweet. How many were the choices? What
There's
have you
only
got?
2.
Okay.
This is my most recent one. It was a birthday gift from my friend Danielle for my birthday last month. My other one is an OG 2008 Hot Topic Twilight shirt from when I was 15. Doesn't fit as well anymore, so I went with this one.
Nice.
It was good. It's a visual medium.
But yeah,
He's smoldering.
yeah,
Look
he
at
does
that
Look
guy.
at
that.
those eyes.
He does that.
Can't stop.
His lips. So
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah.
Hey,
But
what's
yeah,
up?
overall, I really liked it.
Okay, cool.
And
And then Brian, you jumped right in. You were like,
I really liked it. I didn't
I
wait.
liked the movie.
I didn't wait for you to ask, but I will
Yeah.
take this time, lest I be remiss, to say you've now mentioned Blu-rays twice, and Noel offered me the Blu-ray too. And
we all could have watched
we
the same
all could have
we should
watched
have had
it.
a little date night.
But my Blu-ray, well, this wouldn't have mattered, but my Blu-ray player is not hooked in, and I don't know where it is.
Oh,
So I said,
Wow.
thank you, Noel. So he was very kind to offer me that. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was in from the start. There were definitely some of the mechanics that I was like, well, that doesn't, how's that work, right?
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, but the whole thesis of, so as we discussed, love time stuff,
Mhm.
and I thought this was a good
Okay,
time thing.
there's a good time thing.
We know
Okay.
that time is part of it.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't know what this movie was about.
I wasn't entirely
okay.
sure time was part of it
Yeah.
either. I
Yeah.
thought maybe because like the way the title's written, it can go like forward and backward.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Actually, did not pick up on that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But we've alluded to the fact that time is
We
in
said
it a
timey-wimey
lot
I
at
mentioned
this
it
point.
first.
No less
I
than
mentioned it
800 times
first.
this
There's
Yeah.
last
like
time.
the reason I didn't or did like this is
Was
because of the time
timey-wimey.
stuff.
Yeah, that was me.
Right.
I brought
Yeah.
it up first.
But I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know if we should spoil the actual.
Oh no, I wasn't planning on
Plot.
doing it. Yeah, I think we should eventually. But first, what were your thoughts?
My
Yeah.
thoughts were, I had a blasty blast with this
Cool.
movie. I just really enjoyed from jump.
Yeah.
As soon as the credits roll, I don't think it was before the credits. Actually, it was probably a cold open. With everything that
It was.
happens in the beginning of the film, it did send me back immediately to The Dark Knight. That
Yeah.
whole heist sequence, which I
Yeah.
love to this day.
Yes, me too.
And I remember I was so excited. That was the first thing they released about The Dark Knight. You could watch the whole, I think, beginning of the movie
The school
with the
bus
Joker and the school bus and everything.
How
It
did
was
they not
released
notice a
earlier,
school bus
yeah.
coming
Yeah.
out of a bank though and just joining the line?
I like that.
I liked it too. I liked it
That's
just
another
like
one of those
snuck in.
things where you're like, hey, if somebody was paying attention, this
I
would
know.
work.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, I guess they were a little distracted. It makes sense, but the more I rewatch it, I think about that.
If you were distracted, the bank had just blown up. They were very distracted.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I'm getting nitpicky.
Oh, Noel's excited because he wanted Brian to like it. I kept the 4K disc at home, so I was able to rewatch scenes while you all shared my property. It is not conventional time travel, so even saying timey-wimey is barely a spoiler.
That's
Nice.
true.
That's
it's a very
true,
different
Noel.
kind of thing.
I will say that I was also confused. Like you mentioned your headache.
Yeah.
I do think that it is a little confusing at points, and I'm curious to see what does and doesn't work for Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I just went, I guess I just don't get that scene.
I know.
Right?
That's what I had to start doing. I was like, all right, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. I'm going to see if they get it. And
Yeah.
something.
I, however, whereas you were like, that doesn't make sense. I went, I don't think I quite am grasping what exactly the
Right, right.
mechanics of
Right.
this are
Yeah.
in this particular scene at the end of the film. But I had faith that Christopher Nolan and his gang knew what was happening.
I don't-
I assumed this was all planned out to a certain extent,
Brian had no
and
faith.
I just wasn't following it, right? I think the negative for this movie is it's a negative and a positive. It is all timey-wimey, isn't that cool stuff.
Mhm.
Anything beyond that
Mhm.
with regard to character work or relationships, I found it to be absolutely lacking. Whereas I think Inception, the whole crux of that movie, or at least on the end of it, was this character and his relationship to his family. And I felt that. I felt that. I don't know if everyone did, but it was a very rich emotional core to that film for me. This movie had none of that. This movie had sort of one-dimensional characters all doing their chess bits, making their movements, but I didn't really feel any strings between any of them, even though I think you're supposed to here and there. There's one character in particular that I thought was just egregiously one-dimensional, and we'll get to that in spoilers. But I was into this for the technicality of it, like the technical bits, but not any real emotional beats.
Mhm.
So I think that is a kind of a big negative, but it's net positive for me.
Oh,
like
cool.
I walked out of it being like, I want to watch this again.
Yeah, I want
Soon.
to rewatch it with Costa. Come over,
Yeah.
we'll watch it with
We'll
Costa.
watch it together. Yay.
You can come
You want
too.
to copy? That sounds awesome.
Yeah. We
I'd
can
watch it
all watch
again.
Noel's
I'd watch it
Blu-ray.
again. Yeah,
I'm
without
sorry,
Noel.
his property.
His property.
All right. Well-
Now, time travel, you mentioned one of the big pluses for you was the cool mechanics, the
Yes.
time travel. And
Yes.
as is so often the case with time travel, there's the, oh, this thing was happening when you didn't
Mhm.
realize it was
Ah.
happening.
Yes.
This thing
Yeah.
showed me, that
Hold
kind
on
of
a
thing.
second.
Yeah,
Let me backtrack.
go ahead.
Let me Tenet.
Oh,
Let me Tenet this. The other problem I had with it
Mhm.
was every single reveal.
What?
I was like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not
why is this a
sure-
reveal?
At some point, I'm
We
not
all know
sure
this.
how much it was supposed to be a surprise.
Right.
And more of just like, yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah, you were
this
right.
is happening.
You were right at the beginning of the movie, audience, when you guessed everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He addresses the audience a lot.
Yeah.
Noel, you and Sam can come to our apartment to watch your own Blu-ray as well.
Yeah, but bring your own TV.
You're right. So I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that was it.
The reveals.
There's just like, that's a staple of time travel stuff
Mhm.
where you're like, this thing was this thing. I know more about it,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And they do that in this movie and it's cool.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
All right, folks out there, we are going to dive directly into spoilers. So if you don't want to know spoilers for the movie Tenet, get out. What do you get out of here?
Bye.
Go. What are you still doing here? I will say, see it.
Yes.
Alice says, see it.
We will lend you Noel's copy.
I'll say
That's
see it.
right.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
pick it up. Do you say see it?
I say see it.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Everyone says see it. Go watch
See
it,
it.
and then come back and we'll find out about the spoilers. So spoilers, Dylan.
Dylan, did you see this?
Thumbs up.
Headphones.
He's head.
Oh, so you're saying don't scream?
You know, the cool thing about this whole podcast thing is that you got a microphone right in front of you.
That is one of the
What?
cool things.
And
That's
it's,
what this is.
Oh,
Connected
I
directly,
didn't know that.
almost directly to my headphones.
just to your
almost directly to my head.
And, there are a couple steps in between, but yeah.
And are the people hearing you talk right now, or is it dead silent?
They are hearing me. In
Fantastic.
the beginning, they didn't when I said hey because I forgot to plug my microphone.
Oh, with us this week also is Dylan.
hey,
He's in the booth.
Hey.
We did
He's
talk
in
about
an
this
actual
earlier.
booth.
Miss
Yeah.
me?
So, all right, we're going to get into spoilers.
There it is.
All right, Brian,
Hey.
what didn't work?
So I like mechanics of what is happening wise, physics wise, right?
Which is, I wrote it down, inverting the entropy of objects.
yes,
Yes.
the arrow of time.
Or how we perceive time.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry, I'm just gonna be annoying
no.
all the time.
I am going to
Digress?
digress
Yeah.
for a second because this is a very cool thought experiment that I heard about years ago, and it kind of involves some aspects of the movie. So, if you are going through time, and in 10 minutes, time is going to start moving backwards,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And then you exist for 5 minutes. So now in 5 minutes, time is going to start moving backwards.
Right.
You exist for another 5 minutes. You're at the point where time reverses. 5 minutes later, time is going to start moving backwards in 5 minutes.
This is what gave me a headache.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
So from your perspective,
Yeah.
right? If time started moving backwards and like you knew about that ahead of time,
Yeah.
you would think like, okay, 5 minutes from now, time's going to start moving backwards.
Yes.
And then another 2 minutes passes and you're like, 7 minutes from now, time is going to start moving backwards because you are now progressing in the other direction.
I hate
Mhm.
it. I hate it.
Yeah.
So my shirt, I didn't think about this. My stepdad gave this to me for Christmas last year. It's called Entropy 2.0.
Hey.
And it's
We're
very
both
cool.
wearing themed shirts.
Yes.
Um.
And that's the theme, but not this one. The, the
I'm
Jason
sure-
thing.
Nope. I got nothing.
Okay.
Was there a character named Jason anywhere in the movie?
I've got
You tell
Jason,
us.
and I've got a
Yeah, I know, I
ghost
don't
shirt with a pumpkin on it.
Very cool.
But go on. Thank you. Thank you. I like to feel included.
Nice.
Um,
So, yeah, I felt like.
Oh, what Brian explained is basically Neil's entire journey through this movie.
There you go.
I read
Yeah.
that as he
Noel.
instead of saying.
Me too.
I did the same thing.
I was like, oh, no,
And I
must have
thought-
felt that way.
I thought he was talking in the third person because we were.
Knowles. Yeah.
I watched it backwards. So I love that kind of
Yeah.
thought experiment, right?
Yeah,
Like time type of stuff. And so I really did enjoy that about this movie. The stuff that I was like, Well, how does that work? So they need oxygen with them because they can't absorb oxygen from the past, but they can still
Why?
see.
Yeah.
And also why?
Why?
But, yeah.
Why is the oxygen different? They said
Right.
something about the membrane, plural membrane.
Right.
I know a little bit about. No, I don't think I was like, okay, I can kind of get it. Maybe if it's, if
give
suddenly
you a
fire is cold, I can kind of understand. Maybe oxygen isn't oxygen. Maybe it's the thing, the halide that sucked the oxygen out of the room in the other scene.
That's
I don't
another
know.
good point about the fire, right? Like,
Yeah.
why would when fire has occurred, there is not ice in the past, you know,
Yeah.
or in the future, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, not intrinsically, and so there's that the light thing, right? Like, I guess if they're moving, they would still encounter light,
Yeah.
and so be able to see. But if they stop, they should not have light hit them in the eyes, right?
Oh my god!
I would assume, at least if the oxygen doesn't
Right.
work, right?
Yeah. If one, then all.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, but they do cover it, and I thought capably early on when the woman who played Fleur in the Harry Potter movies,
the scientist.
yes, she says
One of the 3 Harry Potter actors in the movie.
exactly.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson and
Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, which you mentioned. I didn't know that, but she covers it, I think, capably in movie terms, where she's like, "This we don't understand.
Yeah.
This is science from the future. We don't get it yet,
Mhm.
right?"
Oh, yeah.
And so, okay, like
That covers a lot
I
of
can
stuff.
deal with
Yeah,
it, right?
that's where I was with it.
And
So Noel's chiming in. Coming at the climax of the movie we were watching from both directions, the radiation he was emitting from moving backwards made those things happen. Not that the air and fire were not magically not working and cold.
I thought
It
it
was
was the
the-
fire was happening because, I mean, the ice was happening because he was moving backwards. But if it's the radiation, that goes even
Going through the
further, too.
turnstile is made possible via something to do with the radiation.
Like
Yeah.
Marvel superheroes.
Yes.
See, this is why
Yeah.
I wanted
Yeah.
Costa to watch this movie.
And explain it to
He
us.
is a radio chemist, and I would have had a lot more interesting things to say.
I'm sure it all checks out if
Yeah,
you watch it
I'm sure,
with a
yeah,
radio chemist.
yeah.
You'd be like,
He
this all
already made a
is
comment
exactly what would happen.
before we even started talking. He's like, I don't think you can invert the entropy of anything. And I was like, okay,
That's what
maybe you won't like this movie.
He did comment that.
Yeah, I was like, maybe you won't like it.
Although you could, right, given the randomness of reality, things could just start reversing entropy-wise, right? You
Mhm.
could theoretically stir a cup of coffee and all the sugar would come out. It is extraordinarily unlikely,
Mhm.
but it is one of the possibilities.
Hmm.
Yeah.
My things were my confusions were not really about like if this then that.
Right.
It was just the rules that have been established
Mhm.
by the film.
Mhm.
I was like, how does this work? You're driving backwards.
Yeah.
Your car drove there, and you're doing the
I-
exact same.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, you're
I
fine.
had the same thought.
And then the big
with
like
the
time
cars.
war at the end.
Yeah.
They literally. This is how dumb I felt. They literally have a part of the movie where they're going, "Hey, audience, and also soldiers, here's everything we're about to do."
Hmm.
I even have a little map and a pointy thing, and I listened to it, and then I went, "What?"
Yeah. I
Dude,
know.
I'm sorry. He never called on me. I had my hand up.
Oh,
He didn't. Dude
man.
never called on me.
Ugh.
So I could be like, "Excuse me, what?"
You
So
should've
I was
just said
watching that
something.
whole big time bandit, the war at the end.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is they shot that building twice? What? And then it wasn't until Noel explained the 2 missiles at the building
Yeah.
that made me go, oh,
Mm-hmm.
now that makes sense. So yeah, I also have ADHD, so maybe it's just my own brain. But like,
No, there were times also where I was like, I get the mechanics of this world,
Yeah.
but what exactly are we watching? Which one are we watching right
unfolding,
now?
what is happening right?
Right.
Yes.
And
Okay,
yeah,
so
'cause
it
he-
wasn't just me.
Because he has to drive the car backwards, but he walks forwards. Why couldn't he
Right.
just drive the car forwards? But he was in the car as it already did that
Yeah.
path.
I think it was forward.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was forward for him, but the way we saw it
Oh, it was forward for him?
when he was.
Okay.
All right, which car are we talking? See, this is why timey-wimey stuff. I get confused. I know.
The freeway
one
scene.
where they're on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's
like the
silver.
first when. All right, are
I
we
think
talking
it's the
about
same car.
protagonist?
Yeah.
Car
Yeah.
when he's with Neil. they're going for. Did you notice, by the way, in that scene that the mirror was cracked before they got in the crash?
I pointed that out.
I saw that before when they first started driving. The mirror was cracked. I was like, oh shit! So there's something is going to happen. Yeah,
that's the stuff that I really quite enjoyed.
I loved that. I thought that was cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that. I love that. Like, ooh, a time thing happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, so when he comes, he's inverted himself and he's driving in that other car towards them.
Okay.
He's going in his.
He was.
He feels like he's moving forward, but to us in the non-inverted timeline, he's moving backwards.
Yeah. Yes.
I think I just misremembered where that happened in the scene. Okay.
He's driving forward, but it was very difficult for him because things were flipping.
Walking is not.
Walking looked weird to me though. It looked like a Grand Theft Auto kind of like movement. Like,
so what happens to the combustion in that engine, and why is the engine not freezing?
Right.
Mm.
I didn't think that. I didn't think. Just felt it.
Just like he said.
Yeah.
And also, maybe it was far enough away from the radiation, so it didn't ice up.
Tommy B. Good says, just agree it's fantasy, and then we can complain about internal consistency.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right on.
Noel says he did drive the car forward. You just previously saw it happen in reverse earlier.
Yes, as Noel explained.
He was also walking forward, but being backwards, friction works a little off, so he was walking weird. Is also driving is wonky like double vision. It was in the dialogue, but it's intense. I desperately want to call in at this point.
I actually have a question that maybe Noel can help with, or maybe you guys can even help with. So they're in the car chase. Andre and Kat are in one car and they're going backwards. Mm-hmm. He has the oxygen mask on. Mm-hmm. She doesn't. So she's a forward person. She's not an entropy backwards person.
This is at what point in the movie? Later
for the car chase when they first get in the BMW.
Okay.
And they're driving.
Right. Okay.
And then Kenneth Branagh and Kat are going backwards.
Yes.
Kenneth Branagh ends up jumping out of the car, but the car's still speeding while she's in it to the point where the protagonist. How is the car still going? Was something on the gas? Because he goes and he pushes the brake and the car stops.
Right.
But there's nothing on the gas pedal. So I was like, what am I not understanding?
What's that?
Flappy paddle?
The flappy paddle.
Cruise control?
Cruise control.
Oh,
see,
right.
That's not even a timey-wimey answer. I just didn't even think of it. I was like, why is the car still going? There's nobody driving. That makes way more sense than what I was thinking.
That was a smart thing for him to put on, too, because he had to do some stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what cruise control is for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holding your wife hostage.
Exactly.
And threatening her with a gun.
That was the original marketing for cruise control.
Yeah.
So one of my biggest problems, I was talking about the relationships and the character work.
Mm-hmm.
This poor woman, Elizabeth Debicki, which apparently she's amazing. She just won an award, an actor.
She was Princess Di.
Yes,
in The Crown.
Yes. She just won an award for that.
Is that right?
Apparently
she did have a mask on when she was shot in like the interrogation room, but he had like just put it on her.
Yeah.
In the car.
That whole scene in the interrogation room was so cool.
I don't think she had a mask on in the car, which is what confused me, but I think he had like he still had to get her through the turnstile or something.
Yeah, she was pre-turnstile.
Yeah.
But yeah, this poor woman, this poor character, she loves her son. That's it. It's a woman who loves her son. And I laughed out loud and said, fuck you to the screen. There's a scene where they're talking, they're hiding out for a little while and they have to wait because I think they're going backwards, or she's healing, right?
Yeah.
And she's on a gurney of some sort and they're having a conversation. The protagonist and Neil are talking. And
Neil.
so
this is actually a Neil shirt. It's not Edward Cullen.
Team Neil.
Yeah. I got it in the past because I'd seen this movie in the sorry.
When he was in Twilight.
They're
Neil
having a
from
whole
the movie.
conversation and they're talking about like the people in the future and what their goal is like to destroy everything, right? This could potentially destroy everything.
Yes.
And he even does some sort of thing where he's like, can you be a little bit more specific? And he's like, yeah, the end of everything.
Right.
And then her from her little gurney goes, including my son.
My
And I was like, fuck you. You got to be kidding. Like, really? This is all you can give this woman to do is
I got
love this kid who we meet never. The only time we see this kid is down there when she's picking him up from school or over there when they're in a boat, maybe.
What if it didn't include her son? That might be worse. It was like everything is destroyed and her son alone in the void.
Yeah. Finally, time to read. And then he breaks his glasses.
His glasses.
So yeah, I was angry at the movie just for that one moment.
I did wish she
where I
got a
was
little
like,
bit more.
including my son. Yeah, man, including your son. We get
It's
it.
not all about you, Kat.
It reminds me of The Simpsons. I don't remember
She's
what
sitting
episode.
there shot. Get it together.
I don't remember what the scene is or the episode of The Simpsons is, but the whole family is there and they're having a conversation, and then Bart just says a non sequitur, and everyone stops and looks at him, and he goes, "What? I didn't say anything for a while."
Yes.
Yeah, it just felt like that of like, I got to say something. Oh, my son. So yeah, that was my biggest problem with this movie was.
I thought you were going to talk about the Simpsons where they're going to some talk and they all pull up in the car and Homer's like, well, here we are at this talk that we all agreed to go to. They're like, yeah, Dad, we know. What an odd thing to say.
Yeah, that tracks too.
Yeah.
Let's see. Still can't. Oh, Sanket. Hi, Sanket says still can't understand a thing. I get that. I'm the same way.
Just feel it.
Yeah. Don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just feel
Stop
it.
trying to understand
Feel
it
it.
and feel it.
Yeah.
As per the scientist lady, who I don't think had a name.
I believe her name was Scientist Lady.
Scientist lady.
Yeah.
That's why she
Or maybe
became a
it was-
scientist.
Oh,
Noel.
you
Yeah.
know, her name was Noel.
Yeah.
Carl says hi,
Hey,
everyone,
Carl
from I
Carls.
believe Tasmania.
Tasmania.
That's
Yeah, we got a
Yes.
viewer in Tasmania. He sent me a nice little happy birthday, so thank you for that. So yeah. I have a couple of likes.
Yeah.
Want to go my likes
I
and my
have quite a
dislikes? I
few.
got 3 of each.
Oh, we
Wait,
got
I have
three.
I have a gripe. Should
Oh,
we get
you have the
another thing?
gripe?
that I
Oh wait,
thought was
likes
like,
and gripes. I got to change. the
Oh,
name.
likes and gripes.
gripes.
That's good. What rhymes with gripe but means that you liked it? Lipes? Lipes and gripes.
Yeah, tell me you got a
This
gripe.
was not something that doesn't make sense. It's just a very movie-ish thing to do where they're going to destroy everything. And I guess that will...
Including her son.
Don't
Right.
forget her
Did
son.
they say that in the movie? Are we sure?
Not sure.
Wait,
Not
she
sure.
has a son?
So I guess this will work out okay when time starts moving the other way for the people in the future, right?
Yeah.
But the woman, the scientist who came up with it, scientist lady from the future,
Mm, yeah.
says, I shouldn't have done this. Rather than destroy it, I'll send it into the past and break it up into little pieces. Like, it seems like if she could do that, she could destroy it. Like,
Right.
why didn't she just do that?
Shut up.
I will not. not now, at any rate.
I don't know.
Yeah, but this is a
We
common
had,
movie
We
thing.
had a similar thing with the most recent Transformers.
When you sent that into the past instead of destroying it.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
why would you
Why'd
just
you send the
destroy it?
Transformer movie to the past
Yeah.
instead of destroying
Well, it was buried
it?
under a mountain for a long time. And then some energon.
Why I think this movie is borderline brilliant, says Noel. It is massive, convoluted, confusing, and very high concept. It doesn't even seem to make sense at points, but I was never confused about what the main goal was for
This is
each
true.
character.
I agree.
Especially the one who wanted to save her son. I was always able to follow the goal. That is good storytelling.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because even if
Yeah.
I was confused at the time about my stuff, I'd be like, okay, don't think about it too hard. They're still
Right.
trying to do
Feel it.
X, Y, Z. I felt
Right.
it.
They're
I
just
felt
doing
them
some
doing
action
it.
stuff and it looks cool.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I can understand
Yeah.
that this group is moving backwards and this group's moving forward, but they're trying to converge at the same
Were
point.
you-
Like I could.
Were you confused during the time war of who was doing what?
The time
did
warp?
you?
What?
The
Okay,
thing, the
it
thing
was
is,
incredibly
the time warp.
Sorry.
It's on
Oh,
there.
I
We should sing that at
thought
the
you
end.
said time warp.
No, the time war at the end. There's a
Gotcha.
whole battle. The time
Gotcha.
battle.
We are going to sing Time Warp at the end of the show, right?
We're gonna
Of course.
dance.
Okay, cool.
We're gonna do
Ooh,
it.
let's do the Time Warp again. Yes.
I have my
Were
Rocky
you-
Horror cosplay in the car.
Were you confused
As always.
Yeah, I
by that
was.
battle?
Yeah,
Okay, it's not just.
I'm still
Just
a little
them.
confused.
Okay,
and I'm
great.
too afraid
Yeah.
to ask.
There's- She didn't actually ask. She
did you
just
get
said
it?
I'm just too afraid.
I got what was happening, but
Like,
that
I-
was the primary, like,
I could
wait
understand
a
the goal.
second, did they do? Yeah. And they had red and blue armbands.
Mhm.
So I knew that they were different groups.
Mhm.
And
I really appreciated that they did that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
were just all dressed the
Oh,
same, I
yeah.
was like, nope.
it makes sense in story too.
Temporal pincer move, baby.
Yeah. And that was cool.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
Yeah. I did hear them say pincer move several times.
They did.
Yeah.
They
And
also
temporal
said-
was right in front of it.
They said Twilight
Yeah.
several times also.
They did.
We live in a
But they
Twilight
didn't
world.
say
Oh.
Twilight pincer move.
Another thing I liked about the movie, Robert Pattinson.
He was great.
He was the
he was my
best part
favorite
of this
part.
movie.
Yes.
Not just because I love him as a person and an
Yeah.
actor, but yeah,
He was
I like genuinely
delightful.
liked his character. And I thought one of the reasons I really want to go back and rewatch it is because of the thing he says at the end when he's leaving
Mhm.
is like, to him, this was like the end of a beautiful friendship.
Great
and
line.
I kind of felt, yes.
Yeah.
And it made sense because like in the beginning, when he first met him, or we thought he first met him, he like already knew all the stuff he liked. He knew he
Yeah.
liked.
That's one of the
Yeah, he did
reveals
the
that
research,
did not. that was one of the reveals. As soon as they meet for the first time, and he goes, I don't forget exactly what the line was. Like, you like cream with coffee with cream and 1 sugar. I was like, okay, he's from the future.
It was Diet Coke.
really?
You guys are friends in the future. I get it.
I
I didn't even see. I just thought he
was.
was a CIA agent who was good at his job.
No,
And I also thought that wasn't the very first time they had met for whatever reason. And I may be wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought, because it's a typical spy thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, here's the guy that.
He doesn't drink on the job.
Right. I know all about
Get him a Diet Coke and he says he prefers soda water. No, you don't.
Right.
And then,
For soda
I was
Get
like,
out of here, you crazy.
Yeah, I know what you like.
But I love that idea that it stretches back before. See, that's the thing. I think they had met before, right? Because I don't think the things that we saw in the movie are enough to be the end of a beautiful friendship. That was my impression anyway. Like that they know each other.
So what's his name? Neil. The Neil that we meet in the beginning of this movie is a Neil that had a lot more future time with
with protecting from the future.
Yes.
And then he had to he came back.
Yeah.
Which that's a long time to be
I guess
doing
he lived
nothing.
all of that. Maybe he's doing stuff on the way back too.
You can't eat. You're probably not gonna shit or piss, right? When you're just waiting for the time to go backwards far enough
Don't tell me what to do.
for you to go back through the turnstile or after the turnstile.
You need backwards food, I think.
Yeah,
Right.
You South Park it. You suck it up your butt and then poop it out of your mouth.
The Office when they're trying to get Pam to not go into labor, and it's like eating spicy food, and then Kevin's like, shove it up her butt.
I forgot that.
Eating spicy food makes you go into labor, so he's like, shove it up her butt.
It might. Who knows?
Tommy Be Good. What is the future team trying to accomplish? Past ruined the planet, but what is the future goal? Replace us and live in the nice past world? Fix the planet? Why not just help them? Simple revenge? ?
I did have a thought.
That's a good question.
The future. So when I first found out the future was like attacking the past, I did have a thought. I was like, maybe we deserve it. Like maybe we've fucked up enough stuff, and then Kenneth Branagh's character says the same thing. I was like, I had that moment from what's that show? The Mitchell and Webb look. How are we the baddies?
Baddies.
We have
skull on our hats.
It's like, oh no, the past are the bad guys. Maybe like we ruined everything for the future, but.
I mean, it's reasonable to think that if you destroy your own past, you will no longer exist, right?
Yeah.
So
but
no matter how bad they
the
were.
grandfather paradox that Neil brought up?
Yeah.
And I thought, didn't Andre's character say something like they think they're going to reverse climate change if they go far enough?
I think they're just going to reverse time.
They will
now be.
I thought he said something about changing the climate. Maybe I misheard him. It was when he was like whispering on the phone to him when he was like, when his wife was about to kill him. Yeah.
That was my impression, was that they were like,
They just want to ruin it. They just want to destroy it all.
well, this will destroy everything and then allow them to start from where they are going, living backwards.
Okay, yeah.
Like it'll reverse everything.
Okay.
Which will destroy our experience. of
Gotcha.
time. Yeah.
Now I get, okay.
But it's a reasonable thing to think, like, oh, if I destroy my past, I won't exist anymore. So it's not a good goal.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the science that we don't know.
You know what
yet.
I think it really needed was like some sort of photograph where people were disappearing. And so
like
that I would
Stalin
know.
photo where he was.
I was thinking Back to the Future.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Why would they take a picture of the side of the house when he starts to disappear?
Yeah.
Why does that picture exist?
Right. They wouldn't have a picture at
Right.
all.
They're like, we're going to take a picture. This is some nice.
Oh my God.
side
I
of the
hate
house.
you.
We
I
can't.
hate you for ruining this for me.
Because the whole photo doesn't disappear. It's just him.
It's just him
the
and
picture is still there.
They just
They just-
side of the
They're like,
house.
oh, the left side.
God
The
damn it,
sun's
Brian.
really nice on it right now.
We need to do some power washing on this side of the
yeah. Get a before and after.
Carl says, I really enjoyed Tenet, but man, I found the film's dialogue so incredibly hard to hear at times, as the music and action would often drown it out. Thank you, Carl.
Yeah.
I had subtitles on, but I always
subtitles. I tried it without subtitles, and then every person in that movie was wearing a gas mask, and they were all baning their way through the movie. So I was like,
oh, that's where you got the idea, I bet.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was born in the past.
They go so far into the past, it actually becomes the Dark Knight Rises movie.
No.
Not get to
Stupid
that
movie.
part. Did you not watch the after credits?
Damn it.
That would be far enough in the past.
They get into the hole with Batman and Bane.
Oh, that'll be awesome. But they must have been there, but we just didn't notice them in the first time we saw
That's how
Dark
he
Knight
gets
Rises.
to Gotham so quick.
Oh, timey-wimey stuff.
Timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah. Thank you, Carls. That bugged me as well. Was the mix was really weird in that movie.
Yeah.
And Noel says, by the movie's rules, we can't know, or we might make it worse.
It's true.
Which is a really convenient thing to do.
Happened.
Yeah.
That's true.
The other thing Neil kept saying.
Does everything that happened happen? Do they change anything?
No.
They don't. Okay.
No. And that was one of the things, I laid in bed thinking about it that night, and I was like, this movie is technically very cool.
Yeah.
Very well made, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But then
The
it
car chase
doesn't
scene was fun.
really add any. There's some wonderful set pieces in it, like the
Oh, yeah.
beginning,
Yeah.
the chase scene.
The
But
end.
the whole time warp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about it at night, and I was like, it doesn't really say anything new about time travel, though. Like, it doesn't have other than it's just it's always what it is. You can't change anything.
That is.
You can.
I have seen that before.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's
right.
The
not
movie,
anything new.
as technically proficient and cool as it is,
Yeah.
it doesn't say anything new about time
Okay.
travel as a genre.
I don't need that to happen for it to be a
No,
cool
it's something
movie.
that occurred to me.
That's true.
I was like, because I'm trying to parse out all the things that
Yeah.
happen in that movie, and then I sort of just was like, well, didn't really say anything new.
well, now people going backwards is not brand new, but and it's different. I mean, Merlin lived his life backwards in some Arthurian mythology, and there's a
Oh, I didn't know that, no.
and that's how one of the ways that he knew what was going to happen was because he was like,
I know
well, it
that.
doesn't end well, but this part's cool.
I am enjoying this part.
Yeah. And which side note, I saw people are like, there's some sword in a stone in Italy, and people are like, is this the real sword in the stone? No, he pulled it out of the stone. It's really
That's
important.
his whole thing.
Right. That was how
The
you knew
stone
he
is
was a king.
swordless.
Right. It's just
you-
a stone now
if you
with a
found
sword hole.
If you was gonna say, if you found a
Yeah.
stone with a long sword hole in
Right,
it, you'd be like,
right.
this is
This
probably
is-
the
this
one.
is a real
This is the
stone.
one. It's the
Yeah.
one next to the one with the sword already.
Exactly. That's what they don't say. There were so many with swords in them. And
That
he's like,
reminds
oh,
me-
Britain.
that
nice.
reminds me
Yeah,
of,
I'll
like-
take this one.
That reminds me of like what you would read in an Encyclopedia Brown story, where if like it's so obvious.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
duh. Yeah.
Right. It's that.
Yeah. Tommy says, you're not meant to understand everything in Tenet, Nolan said on The Late Show.
I mean, I certainly didn't. So
Yeah,
You
nailed it
accomplished it.
then.
Yeah,
I
Guys,
certainly didn't.
you are
But
perfect.
I still really liked it.
Yeah.
I
I
really-
love the
I,
living
like-
backwards thing. Like, it's
Yeah.
fun to see like any time stuff happen on screen. Like, not just time travel as a story element, but like, oh, something is showing me that
Mhm.
happening. Like watching the birds go backwards or whatever. There's also a book called Bearing an Hourglass, which is part of the Incarnations of Immortality series.
Ah, yes.
Highly recommend it.
Ooh.
I know you haven't read it. And you've never heard of it before,
No.
but I read it.
I
And,
feel like I made that pretty obvious with my yes. Yeah.
some people don't
Thanks you for
get
picking up
your
what I put
layered
down.
sarcasm. But in this book series, a bunch of people assume these kind of archetypal roles, and one of them is time, and he lives everything backwards. And I read it in high school, and I was like, "That's awesome!" So I recommend that book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
What was it
yeah.
again?
Nice.
The series is called The Incarnations of Immortality. On a Pale Horse and it's in like a sci-fi magic world. And Bearing an Hourglass is the name of this book. Yeah.
Right on.
So, yeah.
The
the little thing
did we
at
do all the
the
things?
where he's got the I'm not 100% sure what it was, but Robert Pattinson wore that little
The trinket, the little red trinket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only called it that because I'm not going to lie, I read the whole Wikipedia plot just to make sure I understood what I just
Sure.
watched.
Oh.
And they called it a red trinket.
I mean, it is a trinket.
Yeah.
I think it's apt.
I wouldn't have known what else.
What was it?
That was how
It was
you
on his
knew that it
bag.
was him
Oh, okay.
later on. So you see it in the first scene.
Yeah.
And you're
The
like,
guy that,
that's
Yes.
could
Reverse
be
bullet.
important.
yeah.
Which the reverse bullets, like they have to explain to you why that's dangerous. And it's like, yes, there's radiation and that will hurt more than a regular bullet. But if you get shot with a bullet in reverse,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you will die.
Yeah.
Same as a regular bullet, I assume,
Yeah.
if it's in a killing area.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was like, they were like, you really have to watch out for this. I'm like, yeah, it's a bullet.
hold up.
Yeah.
I took that to mean it's not pointy on the end you're getting shot with.
It's moving
It
very
is
fast.
blunt. So-
Musket balls were round. and they
True.
killed people.
True.
If you move anything fast enough.
Do we
Right,
want
I'm
to talk
saying
about
it's
bullet wound
worse.
patterns? Because I know a thing or two about them.
That's right. I forgot what you do
having-
for a living.
Having
Yeah.
a bullet reverse into you,
Yeah.
the blunt end first would be, I would assume, do more damage to your body
I
than the
imagine it
point.
being
moving
like a
backwards
hollow
in time.
point. So you know the purpose of a hollow point was purpose of a hollow point bullet, yes, is to like expand on impact and basically
Ding, ding, ding,
it was
ding,
meant
ding,
for
ding.
hunting so that it would be a really quick kill.
Okay.
The deer or whatever you shot would bleed out.
Right.
Unfortunately, that can also be applied to humans.
The other things
Yeah.
that bleed.
Yeah. So hollow point bullets no good because they just basically like expand, shatter on impact.
Right.
So I was imagining it like it would be like a hollow point bullet no matter what kind of bullet you're being shot with. That's how I was imagining it in my mind for some reason.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
JD,
Hey.
I know almost for a fact, I don't know, but you've read the Flash, Born to Run, talking about Wally West
Yes.
when he first got his super speed
That's
powers.
my dude.
And he's one of mine as well.
Yeah.
And this
We
always
share him.
stuck with me. We share him. He's
We're
our
poly.
dude.
We
You
are
have
poly
shared
when it comes to
custody?
Wally. Yeah.
We share
Shared
Yeah.
custody of Wally.
He's
Yeah.
pretty come and go as he pleases. But
He's
he
our
likes
redheaded
us.
stepchild.
Ooh, where did that come from?
I don't know.
But this always stuck with me. There's a tornado, I think, in his town of Blue Valley, and it sends a piece of hay through some wood,
Yes.
right? Because it's moving so quickly. And it was like,
Yeah.
things, 'cause the Flash was always about
Yeah.
telling you about sciencey stuff.
Yeah.
And so, something moving fast enough, it would hurt, but similar, I assume. It always stuck with me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Neil is Max. Oh yeah. So we watched the movie, Sushan and I, and Sushan at the end goes, "I bet that little kid, the one who is loved by his mother so much, is actually winds up being
much.
Neil."
Shut up.
So like, Pattinson is that little boy who's getting picked up at the end. And that's why he has more knowledge and experience with the protagonist, is because he's actually
From the future.
Yeah, but like he grows
So
up
he's
to be
Andre's son?
yes.
Oh my
Interesting.
God.
Oh, but there's nothing, they in no way say that,
No,
but it could be.
right.
It's interesting.
That's what Sushan said, and I was
Okay.
like, oh,
That's very interesting.
That's like a real good reason to actually include that kid at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You mean her son?
The son that she loves, who will also be
universe.
destroyed if everything is
If
destroyed.
everything else was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that series too. He liked that
Incarnations
series
of
too.
Immortality. Awesome.
Some books stronger than others. The
Yeah.
usual disappointing sexism for that era.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
parts.
Yeah.
I'm
I
often
also read
disappointed
it
in sexism.
as a middle teenager, I think. So some time ago. And looking back, yeah, probably. I don't specifically recall. But
I too
yeah.
read a problematic series when I was in
Oh, what was it? It's a nice shirt. What was the book?
Harry Potter. No, I'm kidding.
She was also referring to not being able to survive regardless because of the radiation,
Sure.
not just the
Ah,
impact.
No, I
Okay.
know. The radiation.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
thought it was
Said
funny
I
that they
keep forgetting
pointed
about
out.
the whole radiation part of all
Radiation
of this. I
makes
just
the whole
keep
thing work.
blocking it out.
Yep.
I'm just so focused on the time.
Oh, my 3 likes were the timey-wimey stuff. I just really liked. I
That
like
was one of my dislikes,
I
but
like thinking
I
about
liked it in this.
even though I don't know if I understand it completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
My favorite, Robert Pattinson was my favorite bit of the movie. And then, what a great villain!
Right?
He was good.
Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh was
Yeah.
awesome.
It took me a second to recognize him.
Yeah.
I mean, when he
I
first came on,
actually
and then
did not realize it was him until this podcast. Shortly
Oh,
before.
You're welcome.
And I was like, I didn't say I wanted to know.
I'm sorry then.
But I found him to be really intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would like
Yeah.
switch really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
frightening. And like by the time you got to what his whole plot was, it was like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
The
Yeah.
scene
Like-
after she tries to drown him
Mm.
and he comes into the room and he just slowly takes off his belt and he puts his cufflinks
Oh,
in
yeah.
the belt loop
In
and
the belt.
starts like
Yeah.
wrapping it around
Yep.
his fists. And
Yeah.
oh my God, I was terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I loved her assassination attempt
hmm
Mm.
where she was like lubing up the ship floor so that she could easily
She gets-
just
Yeah, yeah.
Push him.
slide him
Yeah, yeah.
off the side.
Yeah.
I was
love that.
wondering about.
Yeah.
I was. Yeah.
She's like,
that
yeah,
was
and it's
great.
all just happening sort of in the background. She's just
Yeah.
doing
She's
all
like,
this
"Oh, I
stuff while
smell some
having a conversation
sunscreen."
with him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sunscreen, and then just whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fucking love that.
At what point were you like, oh, that woman she saw was her?
When she
When she
she
said it.
saw
When
her,
she said that originally?
Yeah.
Or when she saw her at
I was
the...
like, oh, there she is jumping off her own boat.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, every reveal in this movie
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
was supposed to be revealed.
Oh yeah, like when,
I was.
when
Yeah.
Neil takes the helmet off the guy and then acts shocked and runs away. I was like, oh, he definitely just saw.
Yeah. Yeah,
either
it's-
himself or the
it's him.
protagonist.
Yeah.
Because he's
Oh, yeah.
and then he lies and he's like, oh, I took care of him. I killed him. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you didn't.
No, you
so you
stopped
definitely just saw your
For a second too long, I was like, okay, so that's protagonist.
I
Cool.
either thought it was protagonist or him. And I was like, all right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you not? Did you catch it?
I forget. I definitely, when I watched it at first, I was like, oh, something's going on there.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I think you were supposed to think something was
Yeah,
up, you
yeah,
know, because
yeah.
of his
I mean,
shocked expression and
Yeah.
then leaving.
I would
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like to say that's a very classic Robert Pattinson face, his like shocked expression.
Yeah.
I looked at it, I was like, it's like, he used to look like that in Twilight when something
Yeah.
crazy happened. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, something
when he's
shocking.
like, oh man, I sure am 100 years old and really interested in this 15-year-old.
Yeah.
She's 17.
My
I'm just
bad.
kidding.
Exactly.
Sorry.
It's
What do you
still
want him to date, a
awful.
90-year-old?
Yeah. Yes.
What else?
Why not? She'll be 90 eventually.
Absolutely
Well,
no
if
character
you read the
work.
books.
I did not,
Oh, yeah.
but I am aware of it.
There you go.
I really liked the stuff where I just thought it was a cool look where they go into the chamber and they're like, if you don't
The
see yourself,
turnstile,
the turnstile,
which I like the name of it. It's so
Yeah, I like
turns
it too.
around in style.
It
Yeah.
does.
And if you don't see yourself coming back out, do not get in.
something happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very cool and just a very like.
I am just clicking that now as you're saying that. That they
Yeah.
were always checking if they.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because they say somebody very
missed that.
bluntly is like, this is the deal, which usually in a story would be like, that is not the deal.
Yeah.
Like something you'll avoid it somehow or whatever. That does not happen. And I liked it as time travel advice. Like,
Mhm.
you will see this happen because if it works, that's what it, and everything already happened. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I was curious. I'd like to see a behind the scenes things because I'm curious to see how they filmed all of that.
I assume forwards.
You're making some assumptions there, Brian.
I said I assumed it.
They all walked
Yeah.
backwards
Yeah.
the whole movie.
Yeah.
And those birds
Yeah.
flying backwards.
How did they
The
train them to
Best in
do
the
that?
business, those seagulls.
God damn it. I hate you. No, you're right.
He told you that you hated me?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if I do.
You know, I like him.
do. Yeah. No,
Listen,
he's right.
let me tell you.
Yeah.
He's going to do this thing.
The only reason I hate you now is because everyone's telling me how great you are.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That's nice
fuck
of
that
them.
guy. I hate
Yeah.
that guy.
He really overhyped you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
It
a
happens,
little
right?
disappointed. Anything else about the timey-wimey movie?
I just have one question about time travel in general.
Okay.
The one thing I always get stuck on is, are there like multiple of all these people just running around now? Like that's when I did
Right?
read Harry Potter.
Yeah.
The third one, there's a lot of time travel. I was like, are there just like 5 Hermiones running around
I think at
Hogwarts
some
going to
points-
different classes now? And then like in Harry Potter, at least, they never really resolved that. It's just like they went on to the next school year. I was like, are there still 5 other Hermiones? Yeah.
Noel said yes.
Noel says there are 5 Hermiones.
whatever.
There's no
Yeah,
more
so
no
there's
less
just
than 5
like-
Hermiones.
There's
Yeah.
exactly
Or
5.
the world will break, including
Yeah.
that poor woman's son.
Wait. What?
Yeah.
Him
I
too?
know.
I thought he was
I thought for sure.
Dylan is shaking his head. You can't see him.
At one point in the movie, there are 4 Neils in a scene.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they
so is that just like
eventually-
how it happens now? Like
I think
they're
they,
just
yes.
were there all so there were always just 4 Neils in the universe because what's happened happened.
No, I think there's a concept called a world line, which
Okay.
is it might have been Einstein, I don't know, but it which is your personal journey through time, right?
Okay.
So if you, for instance, go back to 2 weeks from now, that is in the future of your timeline.
It's my okay.
right.
Yeah.
So there are
I'm
2
going
weeks
back to the future. No, I'm kidding.
later. You will maybe.
Later,
I
me.
don't know what's gonna happen,
Yeah.
but you will go back. At that point, 2 weeks ago, there were 2 Alices at that time, but the one of them eventually travels back in time, right, to 2 weeks ago.
hmm
So even if you just live out the 2 weeks, when you get to the 2 weeks, the earlier you travels back in time and then lives the 2 weeks again. So there's only however many there were to start with of you. 1, I assume. But
I mean, to my knowledge, but after
who
seeing this
knows?
movie,
There's
I
a
don't know.
multiverse thing going on too, but those aren't really you,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
That's a whole other topic. So that is, I think, what would happen, right?
But if you change something,
Yeah.
that's when you create a branch.
Well, so there's possibilities, right?
Right.
That
This just reminded me I have to watch the new season of Loki.
Oh,
We're
it's
talking
awesome.
about
Oh, it's
all
so
this
good.
timey-wimey
It's so good.
travel stuff.
so
All right,
good.
let's just
maybe
talk about Loki
Yeah.
now.
Maybe I do like time timey-wimey stuff because I do enjoy.
I get such a kick out of like Groundhog Day.
I might
type
be lying.
Oh, the
shit.
repeat is awesome.
give me some more repeat, baby.
I might
Okay.
be lying. Maybe I do like timey-wimey stuff.
Okay.
I might have lied to you.
You like Back to the Future, Doctor Who, what you've seen.
Yeah, I do
Loki,
enjoy-
Quantum Leap is a good show.
I haven't seen Quantum Leap,
Haven't
but I
seen it?
did
You
enjoy
like that Harry Potter thing. What
I
else
do.
Is
did
that
you
really
enjoy?
time
Endgame.
travel,
I enjoyed
though?
Endgame.
Is
What,
Quantum Leap
Endgame
time
as well?
travel?
Yeah.
Hold up.
What? What'd you say?
He awakes to find himself trapped in the past, facing mirror images that are not his own.
It doesn't. But
Does he physically go back there?
right,
The show goes back and forth.
right.
There are some times when no, and other times
He's like
yes.
living in someone else's body. He's not traveling through time.
His consciousness is. Yeah. He finds
Really felt
himself
like a time
leaping from
travel
life
show.
to life. Really?
There are all kinds of time travel theories. You can't conflate them if you want to try to understand. All that matters is that whatever you are watching establishes the rules and sticks to them.
Now, what you had asked before is like, would that create an alternate reality?
Right.
That's one in real physics thoughts, as far as I understand. That is one possibility, right? Your actions in some way create a branch of reality, or possibly you just go inhabit this already existing infinity, right? A different thing. Or whatever you did already happened. It's already part of the timeline, right? So we look at it in a very traveling through the fourth dimension kind of way.
Yeah.
But if we weren't doing that, if we were watching it from outside, then maybe it's like, well, yeah, this part from towards the right, if we put it in three-dimensional terms, this thing over on the right does move to the left at one point, and it's there,
Yeah.
and it's always been there,
Right.
right? Like that's how it is from your perspective of
Well, yeah.
time travel, right?
From personal.
So that's one possibility. And then I guess there's the possibility that you could change stuff and somehow paradoxes work out. I would assume that's not the one if I had to take a guess, but
I like how this movie is basically like, it's a paradox. Shut up.
yeah. Well, it's not a paradox. Everything happens, right? There's nothing that invalidates something that already happened. It's more like the middle explanation where it's like, no, he always traveled to the past.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was always an element. The air that he moved in the past was always moved in
Right.
that way. You know, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Which is what they say in the context of the movie. They're like, no, all this happens. This is the deal.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, ultimately, any time travel thing, it's kind of like, well, we don't really know how it works, if it can even work. So
Hurts me.
Can't
to
say
think
for
about.
sure.
Hurts my brain.
that it might not work.
Just think
I
about
would like it to
all the
work.
different ones.
I would
Oh,
love it to work. That'd
So,
be awesome.
all right, explain this to
See,
me very
maybe I
quickly.
do like time travel. I lied.
You love it.
I apparently do.
Alice is a classic
Yeah. Favorite trope.
fibber.
I am a fibber.
Classic
Yeah.
fibber.
I'm gonna go
all right.
back in the past.
So
and,
protagonist.
Yeah.
Protagonist goes down the street in
Mhm.
the car,
Mhm.
winds up getting into the turnstile,
Yeah.
and the car,
Mhm.
the car doesn't go through the turnstile, right? They're not able to reverse the entropy of the car itself.
I'm not sure the turnstile is big enough. I don't remember the scene you're talking about exactly.
Right.
Right,
I'm just
yeah.
wondering, why
Yeah.
is he not? Oh, because it hasn't gone through the turnstile. I answered my own question.
Okay, great.
I'm amazing.
Awesome.
More.
Well, another job well done.
Thank you.
Ooh, what if the scientist from the future knows that all of this has to happen for her world to exist?
What if the science from
right?
the future is the scientist lady that we see in the beginning?
Could be.
Oh, could
There
be.
is absolutely nothing in the movie that invalidates that
I
possibility.
think they say she killed herself, but maybe.
If we didn't see it, it didn't happen. Yeah.
Exactly. Classic movie rules.
I'm going to watch this movie again.
I'd see it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got to say. I enjoy
Oh
Allison.
it.
yeah, we're all gonna watch.
Goes
We're all
Knowles.
going to go
Yeah,
and
yeah.
watch Noel's property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowles
And not
invited.
just the Blu-ray. I want to watch
All
other
of his
stuff of
property.
Knowles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any plants or anything?
Oh,
I want to watch them. But
Well, the airport sequence.
what's
you
happening?
guys didn't even mention the airport.
The airport sequence was really cool.
where they crash the plane into
Oh,
the
I was.
building.
Oh,
I
yeah, where
actually
he's like-
had that. I had that in my list of likes. I just forgot because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
my phone.
I totally forgot about that scene.
I really enjoyed the whole airport sequence. I liked when they had to like go from room to room where like there was no oxygen in
Oh,
certain
yeah.
rooms and they
Yeah.
had to like hold their breath and they were like do it. He was like
That was
taking
great.
deep breaths and Neil was just like, oh, he's really into yoga.
Yeah.
He's really into
Yeah,
yoga.
yeah. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me like a second to be like, oh, that's why he's taking it.
Yeah.
That's what you do when you need to hold your breath. I
Yeah.
also love the line setting it up. And I don't remember it exactly, but I laughed when he's like, you want to crash a plane? Well, not in the air.
Yeah,
Not from the air.
Not from the air.
Yeah. There were actually a couple of good funny bits in this.
There were.
Little
There were.
one-liners and stuff.
The airport sequence did happen twice. All the same.
There is a
It's
clip
true.
online that syncs both versions of the flight, protagonist versus protagonist.
Oh, I'd watch
and
that.
it's amazing.
Sounds
Wait,
cool.
I have to thank you, Noel. You just reminded me of something. I loved that when they were like reverse fighting, there's like no sound. You don't hear like punches smacking because it's like
The sound wave
Yeah.
moving in the
Yes.
opposite direction.
I loved
Makes
that
sense.
little detail. You heard
That's
like
cool.
the sneakers moving and everything, but you didn't hear any like landing.
That's a
Cool.
good point.
And I
didn't catch
loved that.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a cool detail.
Did anyone else find some of that stuff to be a
That part is a
little
bit dramatic, yes.
funny looking? Like I realize it's a dramatic thing is happening. There is a fight, but because one of them is moving in reverse, it looks a little silly.
A little silly.
A little silly.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
But the idea was so cool.
I felt like when he was first, he like, inverted himself to go back out in the world. He has the oxygen thing on. He was walking a little funny, I thought. And like, that's why I said he looked like a
'Cause I guess
GTA
he had to
character
learn
because
how
he
to
was
do
like
it.
learning how to walk.
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching like an old video game where he's like
Yeah.
an NPC just figuring things out.
I guess
But I liked
because
that
Adams
detail because I was like, oh, he's feeling weird.
Isn't he kind of technically, when we talk about the Flash and moving through time at super speed, when things are almost frozen because they're stuck in time. And so there are sequences in a movie theater, for instance, he's in the middle of a movie theater
he gets hit with a bullet.
auditorium and he gets hit with a bullet in the back of his neck and his super speed immediately turns on without him even realizing it. So he is now running.
cool.
Everything about him is going super fast, so much so that everyone around him is frozen. But because everyone around him is frozen in time, he has trouble getting out of the row of people because he can't move anybody because they're stuck in time. So even though he's moving, no one else is able to move. So I wonder if a little bit of that is since he's going in reverse and all of the atoms of the world are moving in one direction, he's sort of fighting his way through like an upstream, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to swim
That makes
upstream
sense. Yeah.
of him having to get acclimated. So like all the atoms are moving in the opposite direction.
Yeah, because I think the woman who's giving him the
nice.
breakdown kind of says that. She's like, the wind's going to be like at your back.
Yeah,
like it's
stuff like
instead
that.
of like
Yeah.
coming at you.
If it was
like,
blowing the other way on that day.
Yeah.
Because
True.
sometimes wind is at your back.
True. Sometimes
in the
it is.
regular
Yeah.
timeline.
Yeah.
That's never happened to me. I'm just kidding.
Really? Oh, you always face into the wind. You're like, I was heading to McDonald's, but now
But then
I'm
the
gonna
wind
gotta go the
shifted
other
and I
way.
gotta go to Wendy's. Fuck.
go where the wind blows, or the other way.
It's a friction thing. The soldier lady tells him it all real fast.
Yeah.
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 Now, the end, the protagonist is like starting his real. Well, I guess he's not starting, but it's the first time you see him kind of in his full role as like the guy that's doing all of this.
He's Tenet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's teneting
Yeah, he tenets it.
Tenet it.
And I thought it was great. And I liked the way the movie ended. And I thought it was totally cool to just see him as like, oh, he's been this figure all along.
Yeah.
I would also watch a movie about that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
And his further adventures. I don't think necessarily narratively that movie would be good to happen.
Warrants it, yeah.
Right. But that's very interesting. I'm okay with just getting a tease of it, but it was very interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
I like
want to
that
speak
too.
for Noel, but I feel like he said when we were talking about it previously that he wishes it was a series maybe or longer.
Ooh, that would
It
be
was
fun.
Saltburn.
That was Saltburn.
Yeah.
He did
That was
say
Saltburn.
that. He did say
He
that.
might have said it about this
He
too.
might- yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this would have made a really good like mini series or something.
For sure.
Mhm.
And maybe
Yeah,
we
yeah.
could have gotten some character work.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Which, although their friendship, I really liked.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
great.
I was gonna say,
It
yeah,
was cool.
I really
Yeah.
liked that,
Yeah.
and I liked how now
Yeah.
that I can look back at the beginning, I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
they were already
Yeah.
he
friends
knew
for
he
him.
liked Diet Coke.
Yeah, that's
Like,
so nice. He
aw.
remembered.
What a
Yeah.
pal.
He
might have
thought
just
it
been
was
told.
creepy at first, but it's because they're friends.
I think that their friendship was really cool.
Yes.
Mhm.
Definitely not what I was about to say.
Noel didn't want it as a series. He likes it as a movie.
Oh,
He
okay,
didn't.
never
Okay.
mind.
Um,
Maybe that was me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I
maybe you
confuse
wanted
us
it
a
as a
lot.
series.
did you want that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. I just said it
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
I say it and you thought it was?
Because you-
yeah, because I'm Noel.
because she's Noel.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay, great.
Something about their friendship being cool.
Oh,
Wait,
sorry.
I did say that I felt like I watched a whole season and it felt like an accomplishment. Lots of story.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of Tenet. or any other Christopher Nolan movie. I'm kind of on a Christopher Nolan kick. I want to go back and watch Dunkirk, which I had never seen. And what was there's another one of hers that I missed. But anyway, let us know what you think. Hey, Alice.
Hey.
Where can the folks find you?
You can find my other podcast at Inside the Morgue Pod on Instagram. And if you want to follow me, I'm at Forensic Alice, also on Instagram.
Logo.
Yeah,
cool.
we have a really cool new logo by one of my cool friends,
From
Katie.
some diddle dick named Jadles.
J
It's
Diddle
super
Dick?
cool.
JD Diddle Dicks.
And I think we're going to be making that into stickers soon. So
nice.
if anybody is interested in buying stickers from a podcast.
Oh,
that
Robert
you like-
Monroe Jr. says, I'm really enjoying the Inside the
Thank
Morgue
you,
podcast.
Robert Monroe Jr. Sorry, I got so excited I mixed up your name. Oh, thank you.
Do you know that Ray listens to it all the time
Yes,
now?
you told me
Yeah.
that they listen.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Oh, I'm so excited, Robert. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. You should write in.
Yeah, shoot us a
Wait.
DM. If you have any show suggestions that you want us to watch and talk about, please let us know.
You
'Cause
guys
we need-
do do you guys answer emails?
Yeah, we will if we get like DMs
If we
and stuff.
get some, yeah.
Yeah, send us DMs. We'll talk about it.
Hey.
Brian,
What's up?
how you doing?
I'm good.
Ready to go?
I'm ready to do
Hit
a
the
little song.
old dusty we're not doing time warp.
Let's do-
astounding.
Damn it. I don't know all the words.
fleeting.
Wow, it's pretty good.
This is beautiful.
takes
Takes
its
control.
toll.
Oh, it takes its toll. Damn it. I fucked it up.
And listen closely. Not for very much longer. I've got to keep control. I remember doing the time warp.
Dylan, cut it.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
YUNKJunk!